Oh, Liz.
Hello? Good? No. I'm never ready. We always do it at the last minute. All right.
Hi,
Yeah.
how are you? Hello, Tom. Is your-
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 12th, 2017 regular caucus meeting for the City of Brook Park. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Scott?
Here.
Bergio?
Here.
Salvatore?
Here.
Troyer?
Here.
Powers? McDonald? Here. Mancini?
Here.
Okay, Councilwoman Powers did call me. She told me she's not feeling good today, so we'll list her as an excused absence. I ask everyone to please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America.
Thank you. We'll move to item number 3 on the agenda, which is approval of minutes of the preceding meetings. We have one item on there. It's regular caucus meeting that was held on November 28th, 2017.
Motion to approve those minutes from November 28th. Support.
Been a motion to approve. It's been properly supported. Is there any discussion, corrections? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk, please call the roll.
Mancini?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Bergio?
Yes.
Salvatore?
Yes.
Troyer?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Okay, the
Carried.
meeting minutes for November 28th, 2017 have been accepted. That completes items under number 3, so we'll move to item number 4 on the agenda under discussion. The first item we have under discussion is a resolution requesting the Cuyahoga County Fiscal Officer to advance tax revenues from the proceeds of tax levies pursuant to Section 321.34 of the Ohio Revised Code and declare an emergency. Mr. Single, would you like to give a little introduction on this one?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If this resolution is passed by the end of the year, it will allow the Budget Commission to advance real property tax revenues to the city of Brook Park. So we receive our money in advance of the final collection. It's requested each year by law. We received the schedule. It was the Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving. I think I got it about 4 o'clock via email. Immediately took it over to the law department to have the legislation drafted, and we're asking council to approve this by year end so that the tax revenues can be advanced. Further questions?
Council, any questions of Finance Director, Mr. Mancini?
Thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Chairman. Greg, kind of reading between the lines there, it seems like you want this for council next week, right?
Through the chair, Councilman Mancini, yes.
Okay. If there's not any other questions, I'll make a motion to put on next week's council.
Well, actually, Councilman, if with the posting of the special council meeting that follows, we tentatively put that on the agenda, and it would, so if you wanted, if council wanted, they could actually make a motion to, because if you can see on the agenda for the special council meeting, it's listed under there under first reading with the note that pending council's decision to move from the regular caucus meeting prior. So for tonight's caucus meeting, I posted it there tentatively with the thought that if council wanted to move it to the meeting tonight, they can move it to first reading tonight.
We do that, we could, I'll make that motion to move it to the meeting tonight then.
Support. There's a motion to place the resolution on the caucus, on the council meeting, special council meeting immediately following. It's been properly supported. Is there any discussion? Councilman Troyer.
Thank you, Mr. Council President, through the chair, to the Finance Director. Mr. Single, you feel better having that done right away, right?
Through the chair to Councilman Troyer, the sooner the better. It'd be
Okay.
fine. We'll get it down to the county.
All right, thank you.
Seeing no other discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll on moving it to tonight's special council meeting.
Mancini,
Yes.
Troyer,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Persia,
Yes.
Salvatore.
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be moved to a special council meeting tonight. It'll be under M1. Do you have a number for it? Or?
Yes. The number 11,012, 2017. Oh, okay, well, that's not gonna be that. Resolution 32, 2017.
So that'll be resolution number 32-2017. Okay, that concludes item 1. We'll move to item number 2, which under discussion is ordinance number 11,008-2017. Mr. Single, I believe you offered some paperwork today for some amendments, if you'd like to go through and explain those for us.
Certainly. Yeah, this afternoon I brought over an amended ordinance. The changes are as follows. So if you go to page 2, proposal is to amend or adjust the transfers line item under 880, transfers and refunds, so about 2/3 of the way down the page. It was a negative 15,000. Proposal is to change that to a positive 35,000. And the reason for that, if you go to page 3, midway down the page, under Fund 691, Retirees Accrued Benefits Fund, became aware over the weekend of a retirement in the service department. I thought the individual was going to retire at the end of December, which would have made his payout in 2000, it would have been completed and processed in 2018. However, this individual retired at the end of November. So in order to process that payment this year, the appropriation in the Retirees Accrued Benefits Fund would need to be increased. So the proposal is to move the 50,000 from the general fund and appropriate those dollars in the Retirees Accrued Benefits Fund. So increasing that line item from 75,000 up 50,000 for a total of 125,000. That's change number 1. The second change, if you go back to page 2, I've added a special recreation fund. So it's almost at the bottom of the page, second last fund on the page. The proposal is to increase the miscellaneous expense line item, $10,000, and reduce the equipment line item by $10,000 for a net impact of 0 to that fund. So appropriations won't increase. Reason for that is the city's entered into a contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers for the basketball program, and we'll be purchasing the uniforms for the program. The cost is a little bit more than what was originally budgeted. So in order to process the purchase order, we would need to increase the miscellaneous expense line item to do so. So any questions on those two changes or on any other item in the
Counselor, any
ordinance?
questions to the finance director? Okay, seeing no questions, thank you for the explanation, Mr. Single. Council, I would need some amendments offered to modify the ordinance.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Salvatore?
motion to make the amendments as presented by the finance director.
Support.
Support.
Okay, there's a motion to make the amendments as presented by the finance director. It's been properly supported. Seeing no discussion, I'll ask the clerk, please call the roll.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Persia,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Troyer,
Yes.
Okay, so that motion has been approved. Is there any other discussion under item number 2? Councilman Troyer?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Council President. So, through the chair of the finance director, so this will increase our changes. We'll be adding, instead of the 550,000, we'll be adding this even 600,000 to the amended budget, correct?
Correct. For the general fund.
For the general
For the
fund,
general
correct?
fund. In total, the total amount increases $100,000. 50,000 in the
Right.
general fund and 50,000 in the retirees accrued benefits fund.
Right. Okay, all right, that's it, thank you.
Any other questions? Since we've amended it. Okay,
You don't need a motion, right?
no, okay, since there was action taken on this with the amendment, then I don't need any motion that this was discussed, so we'll just move to item number 3, since an action was actually taken. So, item number 3 is ordinance number 11,009-2017, which is amending ordinance number 10,070-2017, the appropriation ordinance for the city of Brook Park, and declaring an emergency. This is open for discussion now. Councilman Troyer?
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Council President. Council, I discussed this a little bit, let me get my extra papers here. I discussed this ideas of a few amendments a week or so ago, and the finance director did provide me with a number. Actually, basically what I needed was a fund number and a line item. But, so, I mean, let me set this up. You know, during last year's budget, we had a couple ladies come up and the economic development director come up and tell us on the HMAP program that there was a waiting list. And we know that there's a waiting list for the HMAP program. And the economic development director told us how, you know, and a couple ladies were sitting in the office waiting for this money for us to pass the budget this year. I'm sorry, it was this year, to pass the budget so they could start looking at those applications and deciding who gets the money. But they had to wait until after the budget was passed. So what I'd like to do is add $100,000 to, as soon as I get it here, Fund 243, Economic Development Fund, 325, Community Development. I'd like to add $100,000 to that, so that money is readily available from day one to take care of these residents that have been waiting possibly 1-2 years in line to have their, be considered on this HMAP program and get some fixes to their exterior and some interior issues of their homes. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to add $100,000 to Economic Development Fund. That's 243, line 325, Community Development. It would go from 150 to 250, and the total would then be 260. So I'd like to make that motion that we do that to help these people out that are waiting for this money, and I'm just wondering if I can get a second on that motion.
If I could get a clarification from the finance director with what you provided, doesn't he need to also, that amendment also includes a change to 880 transfers?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. There's actually 1, 2, 3, be 4 changes. I believe I highlighted them. I think I highlighted them. So the first change would be on page 1, the last line, 880 transfers and refunds, that would go from 300,000 up to 400,000. Page 2, economic development, Mr. Troyer mentioned that one already, so that would be the one change. I think the other one that you had identified was for the roads program. So I don't know if
Correct.
you want to take one at a time or not, but.
Yeah, because we don't know how to change the other ones, the transfers, until we know if that one or the other passes. So that's why that's why I was doing it this way, because, the HMAP program is, well, they're both really important, so I can't put one or the other, but council may be unwilling to do both, so I thought I'd split up the motions. So, council, keep in mind that, there is a couple, well, I guess the 880 on this page 1 would have to change to 400 along with this amendment, so I guess that is a double amendment, but the overall transfer would have to wait until we see if the second amendment were to pass. That'd be correct, Mr. Finance Director?
Through the chairman, Councilman Troyer, no, I think you can do this one, because the way that it's been presented to council tonight, if council deems to move monies into the roads program for 2018, those dollars would come from the capital improvement fund. This transfer is coming from the general fund.
Oh, I see, that's why you wrote it that way. Okay, well, I got you. All right, thank you. Okay, so the motion's gonna be two changes, the one as I discussed, and 880 transfers funds and other, that would be changed to 400,000 in transfers and refunds, and for the total appropriation. So in order to get the HMAP off the ground and running right away, those two amendments would have to be made. And that's the motion I'm making. If I can get a second, I would appreciate it. And I'm sure the people waiting in line would appreciate it also.
Okay, motion has been made. Is there a second for the amendment? Okay. There's no second for the amendment, so the motion fails for lack of a second.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Council President. And then, Council, I'd like to consider another amendment, which is adding $1 million to the street improvements fund. That would be on page 3. Page 3 on 880, transfers and refunds. We'd be adding $1 million there. And then also the next section below, section 6, we'd add a line 545, be labeled 2018 Street Improvement Fund. And then 425, street paving and repair, 100,000 in operations, 900,000 in capital outlay, for a total of $1 million. That is my motion. The reason for that is, earlier in the year, the engineer told us that, I think we're barely getting Sylvia's done there, that we're always behind on our roads program, that we need to get it going sooner so he can get things in order and get the roads program going, so we're not trying to push it at the end of the year and when it's bad weather like this, and get things done. And my thought on this was that we'd have that money available, so when a new council comes in, it's sitting right there in the budget. All they have to do is decide on what streets or what projects are done. So, so that's it. That's my motion. Again, if I can get a second, is to make that transfer of $1 million, put it into a fund in the 2018 Street Improvement Fund. If I can get a second, I'm sure whoever streets were gonna be done right away would appreciate that.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second for the motion? Okay, the amendment fails for lack of a second. Is there any other discussion on item number 3? Seeing no other discussion, the chair will accept the motion that this item number 3 has been discussed.
On special
I'm
meeting.
sorry. I'm sorry. I meant to move it from there, but, so we just, I'll take a motion that we place it on the special council meeting since no action's been taken tonight.
Motion so made.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Support.
Greg, you okay?
I did.
Supported?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the motion's been made to place it on tonight's special council meeting. It's been supported. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Troyer,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Okay, so ordinance number 11,009, 2017 will be on tonight's special council meeting. That concludes the items under discussion. We'll move to the Legislative Committee, item number 5 on the agenda, Legislative Committee Chairman Troyer.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Council, being this the last regular caucus meeting of the year, I decided to pull all the items out of Legislative Committee and have council decide what they want to do with them. Because in the past, it's been said that I hold things in council, I don't bring them out and this kind of stuff, which hasn't been true. And I've always said, if you send me an email or whatever and let me know about it, well, preferably an official email, or let the council clerk know that I would bring the issues out. In fact, there was one issue that's not here because the other week, the last caucus meeting, I actually called the councilman and asked him if he wanted to brought it up because he hadn't let me know. He had not let me know to bring it out, and I asked him, and he said, okay, bring it out. Then when I brought it out, he said, no, the motion was made to put it back in committee. So I didn't bother bringing that one out today. But so what I want to do, so the reason I'm doing this is because I want to make it clear that I do bring stuff out, and I'm trying to empty the committee out before the next person takes it over. And I just want to see if we can get things done, some of these things finalized, whichever way they're going to go, and not kick it into the next term. So I will start with the first item, which is item number 1. Well, let me see if I've got 4 items. An ordinance amending section 153.03 of the Brook Park Codified Ordinances entitled Leave of Absence for Temporary Military Training and declaring an emergency, introduced by Mayor Coyne. Anybody? Mr. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a mass motion to place items 1 through 4, that's in the Legislative Committee, back into the committee.
Support.
Okay. So you want to,
All 4 items put back in committee.
that's a great motion.
Thank you.
Okay, so Councilman Scott, you'd like to kick the can down the road on all 4 of these
No,
items?
there's things that,
Okay,
what are we going to accomplish? We got one regular council meeting, so this is
Got one.
stuff on here. We talked about it 2 weeks ago, and then we talked about it again last week. We placed them both in committee.
And-
Nothing's changed, so that was my motion, so I guess I kicked the can. Hey,
all right, great. All right, so motion
Kick the
made to
can. Let me know
place
what kind you
items
want.
1, 2, 3, and 4 back into committee for the next council, and properly seconded by Mr. Salvatore, I believe. Any discussion on the motion? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Scott,
yes,
Salvatore,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Troyer,
No.
McDonald,
Yes.
Mancini. Okay, 5-1.
Okay, those will be placed back in committee, and let me just, to end my committee, I read that one. The other, actually, I don't know if we could, the other one was, I should read these all, what we just placed back in committee, since one was amending certain sections of chapter 153 of the Brook Park Codified Ordinances entitled Employees Generally and declaring an emergency. Item 3 was a resolution designating the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the city of Brook Park and declaring an emergency. And there were some co-sponsors that are here tonight. And the last one was a resolution recognizing Project Evergreen's Green Care and Snow Care for Troops initiative as a preferred provider for families of deployed military personnel and post 9/11 disabled veterans with a service-connected disability in the city of Brook Park and declaring an emergency. So again, all those items were put on the back burner for another day. Okay, and that concludes the Legislative Committee's work for tonight and for the year. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the items that are on tonight's caucus agenda. So we'll move to item number 6. Council,
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
and a motion to adjourn. It's been properly supported. I'll ask the clerk, to please call the roll on adjournment.
Mancini,
Yes.
Perugio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Troyer,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
This meeting is adjourned at 7:25 PM. Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll move immediately to the special council meeting. We're going to have a December 12th, 2017 special council meeting for the city of Brook Park. Notices were sent to council members Troyer, Mancini, Powers, Scott, Bergio, McDonald, Salvatore, Council President Astorino, Mayor Coyne, Law Director Horvath, and Finance Director Single to have a special meeting that will accordingly be held on Tuesday, the 12th day of December, immediately following the regular caucus meeting at the place of holding regular meetings. I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Scott,
Here.
Perugio,
Here.
Salvatore,
Here.
Troyer,
Here.
Powers, McDonald,
Here.
Mancini,
Here.
Again, Councilwoman Powers did indicate to me today that she was not feeling well, and so she'll be listed as excused absence. I would ask everyone, please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, thank you. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is remarks from the audience on items that pertain to the agenda only. In a special meeting of council, the discussion from the audience can only be on the matters that are on the agenda. So tonight we have on our agenda, we have the resolution requesting the Cuyahoga County Fiscal Officer to advance tax revenues on first reading. And under second reading, we have the ordinance that amends the 2017 appropriation ordinance, and we also have the an ordinance that establishes the temporary appropriations for the city of Brook Park for the January through March of next year. So if anyone from the audience wants to come to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and you can speak on those 3 items. Seeing no one coming forward, we'll go to letter M, which is introduction of ordinance and resolutions on first reading. We'll go to the resolution 32-2017.
introduced by Mayor Coyne, requesting the Cuyahoga County Fiscal Officer to advance tax revenues from the proceeds of tax levies pursuant to section 321.34 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend.
Support.
There's been a motion to suspend. It's been properly supported. Discussion on suspension. Seeing no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll on suspension.
Troyer,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Suspension has been approved.
Move to adopt?
Support.
There's been a motion to adopt. It's been properly supported. Is there any discussion on adoption? Seeing no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll on adoption.
Mancini,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Troyer,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Resolution number 32-2017 has been adopted under suspension of the rules. That concludes the items under first reading, so we'll move to letter N, which is second reading of ordinances and resolutions. We'll go to ordinance number 11,008-2017.
amending ordinance number 10,070-2017, the appropriation ordinance for the city of Brook Park and declaring an emergency, introduced by Mayor Coyne.
Okay, ordinance number 11,008-2017 has had its second reading. We will move to the second item under letter N, which is ordinance number 11,009-2017.
Oh, I got that twice. That's not right. It's my mistake.
What's that?
I got it written twice, but I didn't catch it.
Oh.
Where is it? To provide for the temporary appropriations of the City of Brook Park, State of Ohio for the first 3 months for the 3 months ending on March 31, 2018, and declaring an emergency, introduced by Mayor Coyne.
Ordinance number 11,009-2017 has had its second reading. That concludes the items on the agenda for the special council meeting. We'll move to letter P.
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
Been a motion to adjourn, properly supported. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll on adjournment.
Mancini,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Vergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes?
McDonald,
Yes.
Troyer.
Yes.
This meeting is now adjourned at 7:30. Thank you very much.